Good morning, Father Steve.
Good morning, Scott.
We are going to have a little chat here and talk about some Lenten practices.
Wonderful.
I think the first question that we should address is, what is a good Lenten practice?
Well, that's the question everybody asks these days during Lent. Next week, it's like New Year's Eve resolutions. First of all, or New Year's resolutions. It's best to make one that you have some hope of fulfilling rather than make something extraordinary. Everybody does, I'll give up desserts, or I'll exercise more, or I'll the traditional kind of things that we do. I was thinking more in a spiritual line, rather than do something what we would call ascetic. Those are fine. You can do all kinds of ascetic practices, like get up early, or sleep with a hair shirt, whatever you want to do. But I would think, one thing we could do very, very effectively, and we do have a good chance of doing, accomplishing, is to just pray a little more. Just simply pray.
Very good. That's wonderful. I think a good tag onto that would be, so why do we do those things? Why do we practice penance, and what is it?
Yeah. Well, Lent is always that time for penance. We in the Catholic Church talk about penance a lot. The priest will give you a penance, we say, after the sacrament of reconciliation, confession, usually a Hail Mary or an Our Father. Penances used to be in the early church much more severe and last often for your entire life. They were introduced when we had so many apostates during the Roman persecutions, people who apostated rather than go to persecution. So they would spend the rest of their lives in penance. They would wear distinctive clothing. Everyone knew they were penitents, trying to get back to the church. That's long since passed. But repentance, penitence, some sign that we are sorry, just a sign that we regret our actions, and we want to make amends, as they say in 12-step programs. We want to do the right thing, and penance puts us in touch with that. So whatever we can do.
That's great. That's really, really informative. I love that. And a type of penance that we do a lot in Lent is fasting. And Jesus said, when you fast, not if you fast. So what is fasting all about?
Yeah, fasting. Jesus said that in the Sermon on the Mount, along with praying. When you pray, again, not if you pray. And fasting is one of those things that kind of it comes and goes in the church. But it's always there. It's in the Gospels. Jesus said it. We can't ignore it. The apostles, remember when they tried to heal the epileptic boy was possessed, they thought. And the apostles couldn't do it. And they asked him, why could we not heal him? And Jesus took them aside, when he was alone with them, and said, this one can only be, evil can only be cast out by prayer and fasting, he said. But it's a great way to come in touch with our weakness, our powerlessness, our smallness, our dependence on God. It puts us in touch with our creatureness. Don't do it for any more than 24 hours. You get into trouble that way. But if you can do it for 24 hours, you're doing a great thing. And do it for the sake of the kingdom. Not for your own sake, but for the sake of the kingdom. It has, for some reason, enormous power. So we should try that again. Not just not eating meat, or not eating candy, or not eating dessert, but not eating. That's what fasting is.
That is the challenge.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your time, Father Steve. I think this was very helpful, and I'm sure those who are watching you right now are going to be extremely edified. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Scott.